I want to talk about The Flash because it's the goddamn best Batman movie. Okay, maybe not the best, but still top 5 Batman movies, which is weird because this is not even a proper Batman movie, but I just love what they did with Batman in this film. Ben Affleck finally got his shot, his chance to play the real, grounded Batman, fighting street-level criminals and actually trying to save lives. He's not very good at that, but Batfleck finally nailed the crime-fighting Batman, the Caped Crusader, the Dark Knight. It's still weird that he goes out in daylight, but even this minor flaw is overshadowed by how good he actually was both as Batman and Bruce Wayne. Still as driven as ever and still creating a shit ton of collateral damage, at least this Batman is now conscious of how ineffective and pointless his efforts are under the influence of Wonder Woman's lasso of truth, making fun of the constant asinine takes about Batman on social media in one of the most hilarious moments of the film, and also a caring and understanding friend and mentor to Barry. This is the Batman that Ben Affleck deserved all along, and I'm actually glad that we finally got to see it, even if it was just for a few minutes at the start of the movie, which by the way should have been called Flashpoint because it's clearly inspired by the storyline. It explores the same concept, especially Batman's relationship with Flash. In Flashpoint, it's Flash's friendship with Batman that brings him back home. It's his connection with Bruce that makes the Flashpoint Batman reconsider his actions and help as best as he can. And the same thing happens in this movie. The friendship and connection of Batman and the Flash can't be broken, not even in different timelines. In fact, it is Barry's faith and trust in Bruce that brings Michael Keaton's Batman out of his retirement, a former Batman that had become isolated from the world outside Wayne Manor, who had given up on his never-ending quest because Gotham no longer needed him. That doesn't mean that Gotham became crimeless, but rather that this is a new chapter for this Batman, a Batman who finally overcame his past traumas, but in the process he lost purpose, he lost motivations, he stopped caring about Gotham, about himself. One of the most brilliant minds and greatest fighters in the world has completely abandoned his mission. The Batcave is all but abandoned, the Batmobile only there for show and to create nostalgia for the people watching the movie. This is the first cinematic Batman that keeps trophies of his enemies in the Batcave. The Joker's laughing box becomes a reminder of a time when he cared and also maybe a token of remorse for having taken a life in the past, hidden as a fun Easter egg for the nostalgia buffs and to bring some light to the darkness surrounding this timeline, a darkness that this Batman has embraced on a whole different level, and it's only thanks to Barry's faith and trust in him that makes Bruce realize that he doesn't have to be aimless, he doesn't have to stay hidden and do nothing. This Batman had overcome his obsession with crime fighting because he realized how pointless it was, but thanks to Barry he finds a new purpose, a new reason to fight. This Batman now fights for the world. Batman has finally returned, for real this time, and we get some of the best action sequences featuring Michael Keaton's Batman. The advantage of having this Batman back in the modern Hollywood is that when Batman fights, I actually get excited about what I'm watching, because it's not just senseless brutality or vengeful rage, it actually feels like Batman, and that's what Michael brings to the table because he is Batman. There are many throwbacks to the 1989 Tim Burton movie, especially with the glorious Danny Elfman soundtrack as well as Batman's dialogues, which makes for some of the funniest moments that only work if you're actually familiar with the film. But despite these light and humorous moments, the story of Michael Keaton's Batman is actually a tragedy, because after gaining new friends, after getting the closest thing that this loner has ever gotten to a family, all of it is just not meant to be because this timeline is doomed. One of the most emotional moments of the movie happens when Batman is dying in Flash's arms. The dialogue becomes so poignant because it's not only talking about the story in the movie but also in the real world. When Barry tells Batman that he will bring him back, talking about going back in time and undoing his death, only for Batman to reply, "You already did." I was struck by how brilliant and powerful that line was in so many levels that I'm actually getting choked up just talking about it, because it also means one last goodbye to this Batman. We needed the Flash in order to see the full potential of this Bruce Wayne, in order to see how much he has evolved and grown over the years, to understand how he finally healed his wounds and traumas, and to understand that even though this is goodbye, it was not all for nothing, because in return, this Batman helps Barry heal his wounds and overcome his past traumas, so that he can fix the timeline as best as he can, and that is the real legacy of this Batman. And the funniest thing about that is that although Barry fixes the timeline thanks to Batman's lessons, his Batman is now no longer Ben Affleck but George Clooney in a beautiful, beautiful cameo that was spoiled for me on Twitter. In any case, that didn't take away from the fact that one of my childhood Batman was finally getting the love and respect that he didn't get back then. And that's why this is one of the best Batman movies ever. It's a love letter to Batman and the legacy of the character, from Ben Affleck to Michael Keaton all the way to George Clooney and even Adam West. This movie is a treasure for a Batman fan like myself. I absolutely enjoyed the hell out of this movie, and I'm so excited about the fact that the director, Andy Muschietti, is going to be in charge of the future Batman the Brave and the Bold movies, because it's obvious that he not only understands Batman but also cares deeply about the character and his legacy.
I grew up in the 70s, so I grew up like watching reruns of the TV show from the late 60s. Adam West has a place very, very close to my heart. It wasn't until Tim Burton did his movie with Michael Keaton that I was blown away by it, and there was no other Batman to fill that role, the Michael Keaton version of Batman.
I'm looking forward to Andy's take on Batman more than any other Reeves or Pattinson out there. But after all is said and done, I just really like The Flash. It's a fun movie. It's not perfect, but it's very entertaining, and I just couldn't get enough of Supergirl. I guess that what I'm trying to say with all of this is that Batman and Flash have finally found a bigger and better adventure than Borg. And if you didn't get that reference, then you need to watch my video about all the Batman and Flash team-ups in the comics. Anyways, that's all I have to say about that. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.